So, all right, for people listening, what is it that they should be taking once they start to see or feel some of these symptoms? What are the things they can get over the counter before they even have to head in to see the doctor and get their hormones checked?
Hormone checks. So if you're looking for things that can help, one there are things like magnesium. Magnesium can help with sleep disruption. Magnesium glycinate, magnesium ithreonate are two of the ones that really can be helpful. But the other things that are going to help, vitamin D3 can be helpful. But really diet and exercise more than anything are
Okay.
going to be. You can't outrun or out medicalize what diet and exercise can do to help change and help to ameliorate some of the symptoms.
So, when you say diet, what kind of foods should people be focusing on?
So there are definitely things like the high fiber diet that they're trying to that will and things that we're going to influence your gut flora. So you can things that have some the leafy greens, the flaxseed, those things help to metabolize the estrogens that are these huge estrogen levels that are swinging in your through your system. So those things can help. But the other the dietary things that you're going to look at, phytoestrogens. Some people find that phytoestrogens, things like soy, are going to be helpful in trying to stabilize those levels a little bit but eventually you're going to get to a point where your estrogen levels are not going to get stabilized by really much other than replacing your estrogen.
Got it. Okay. But like for people that are literally going to sleep at night and having hot flashes, is there
Yeah.
something but I mean, is that what you're saying the magnesium could really help?
Magnesium, yeah, it
Right.
can help, but it really is going to be bamboo sheets are excellent. They're actually bamboo sheets, I would say, are one of my favorite things for menopause.
Really?
The Waking Lighter, oh my gosh, tremendous. And there's a lot you can do with your sleep environment. The optimal temperature for sleeping is between 62 and 65 degrees. So for women who are in that
Really?
sleep, yes.
Huh.
So making sure that you've got to guard your sleep, because even with hormone replacement therapy, all of those things, you're still at higher risk for sleep disruption. Making sure that you've got the right sleep environment in terms of your pillows and sheets and things can make a huge difference. Now, I still every once in a while have to throw out that leg to cool off, and I have the fan that's going on. In fact, I think my husband can't sleep without the fan now anymore because he's so used to it. So I do try to optimize the environment and white noise and all those things,
Mhm.
because you are still going to be at higher risk. People can use melatonin. That's not a bad thing to use either. But you're ultimately it's going to be you're going to have more sleep disruption. You're actually more prone to sleep apnea with menopause as you get older. Through women in their 40s and 50s, regardless of change in your weight, so you may not realize that your part of your sleep disruption has to do with that, not just hot flashes and night sweats. So that's
So
something to look out for.
a couple people I was talking to were most upset about the weight gain. And a
Oh,
couple of them
yeah.
did not feel like it had to do with the food they were eating because they were still watching what they were eating.
Yeah.
Explain how people are gaining weight just from the hormone changes.
Yeah, they are completely right. So just like we said that you have an increased risk of heart disease, one of the reasons you have that increased risk in heart disease is the change in your metabolism. As
Mm,
your estrogen levels go down, not only we talked a little bit about your gut metabolism, it changes the actual bacteria, it changes your gut flora when your estrogen levels change. So you're absorbing and metabolizing differently. It's changing how your insulin is metabolizing. So
mhm.
you become more insulin resistant. and you getting all this visceral fat. Visceral fat is the fat that wraps around our organs. So internally, you're like, even you get me, you can see like, okay, I feel bloated all the time. Sometimes it's not actually being bloated. That's actually increased fat on your organs.
Wow.
And so that, yes. So I hear that all the time. I'm still running. I'm still working out. I'm eating exactly the same or less, and I'm still gaining weight. So there you get a slowing of the metabolism, and you get loss of testosterone that it can decrease your muscle mass. So even if you're working out, you may not build muscle, which if you lose muscle, then that slows your metabolism because your muscle is metabolizing so much faster than the rest of your body. And so if you're losing muscle, then you're losing metabolism, you're losing your recovery from exercise. All those things are real, and we can see it if you go year to year and you check your cholesterol levels. You're going to see increase in your triglycerides, decrease in your HDL, increase in your LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, without doing anything different.
Okay, so let's talk about something I know everybody has a question about. You always hear that your sex drive disappears. We talked a little bit about libido.
Yeah.
So why does that happen? How do we fix that? I know there has to do with, vaginal dryness. Explain
Yeah.
that whole
Part of it is
scenario.
when we look at any kind of sexual function, there is what we call a biopsychosocial model, which I think we all know, right? It's part biology, it's part how you're interacting with your partner, and it's part what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
So it is looking at all those prongs of this fork that we've landed on, which is a little prickly. So the biology changes are, yes, two things that I feel like are the major drivers. One is you do lose your testosterone. You have about half the testosterone or less of what you had in your 30s and in your 20s. And as those changes happen, you do see changes how it affects that desire center of your brain. But you also have that sleep disruption we were talking about, and you may not even notice it as sleep disruption. You may not be waking up completely, but people that wear sleep trackers, they see the changes in deep sleep.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and we see in women, sleep disruption presents very differently physically for us. So we may still spring out of bed. We may not, but but what we see is daytime, like pervasive fatigue. So people are just like, I just do not have the energy to do what I was doing before.
Right.
So that level of sleep deprivation is different. And it completely, if you think about reproduction and we're made to make babies in an ideal state. So for women, if the laundry's done and you have the groceries shop for, and you've thought about kids camps, they're scheduled and all those things, and everything else is good, then you might want to have sex. But for men, sex is a stress reliever. So it is not, for us, it's like desire is only there if everything else is ideal for bringing another human into the world.
Right.
Right. So if everything is chaos and stress, it's the last thing that your brain's going to be like, no way, this is not the time.
Right.
So it's unfortunate that we have that mismatch, which is the social part of it, where when men are like, this has been a horrible day, let's have sex. And you're like, are you kidding me? No. So when you have to, but we still get the distress because we want that closeness with our partner, and we really actually need the endorphins to get our brain back. But our desire center is so downregulated that sometimes we just we have sex even though we don't have desire.
Right.
Because we're like, maintenance, relationship maintenance. Uh,
Right.
and again, most of my patients say, once I actually get started, I'm
Then I
able
can
to
get
have an
into it.
orgasm. I do enjoy it, and I do enjoy having had sex, and I do appreciate that endorphins and the closeness that it in the relationship. But it's just getting there.